The day I discovered the spyware, I was eating leftover Thai food Marla had portioned for me in a container labeled Tuesday lunch, with a little heart drawn in Sharpie. That should have been my first clue that something was deeply, catastrophically wrong with my life. I'm Eliot Brant, 32, IT consultant for mid-sized companies that can't afford their own tech departments. I fix servers, untangle network cables, and explain to executives why their passwords shouldn't be password 123. I'm good at my job. I'm methodical. I notice patterns, which is why it took me embarrassingly long to notice the pattern in my own apartment. Marla Danes moved in 8 months ago. We'd been dating for a year before that, and she made the transition seem inevitable, natural. "Why are we paying 2 rents?" she'd asked, practical as always. "I'm here 5 nights a week anyway." She wasn't wrong. Her toothbrush had claimed territory in my bathroom. Her almond milk had colonized my fridge. Her presence had seeped into every corner of my 1-bedroom apartment in Redmond like humidity. At first, I liked it. Marla was organized where I was chaotic. She color-coded the spice rack. She bought matching hangers. She introduced me to meal prep, and suddenly I wasn't eating gas station sandwiches for dinner. My mother loved her. My coworkers asked when I was proposing, but somewhere between the matching hangers and the shared calendar app, things shifted. "Why are you wearing that shirt?" Marla asked one morning, her voice light, casual, as I buttoned up a blue Oxford for a client meeting. "What's wrong with it?" "Nothing's wrong with it, I just think the gray one looks more professional." She smiled. "The blue washes you out a little." I changed into the gray one. 2 weeks later. "Did you really need to order appetizers at dinner? We're trying to save for that trip, remember?" A month after that. "I saw you posted that article on Facebook, the political one. Honey, your boss follows you. Maybe stick to cat videos." She was always right. That was the thing. The gray shirt did look better. We were trying to save money. My boss was conservative and probably didn't appreciate my sharing articles about union rights. Marla's suggestions were logical, helpful, supportive, but they never stopped. She checked my phone for work emails when I was in the shower. She logged into our shared banking app every morning and asked about every transaction over $10. She knew my passwords because couples shouldn't have secrets. She scheduled date nights, gym sessions, even my therapy appointments after I mentioned feeling stressed. "I'm just trying to help you be your best self," she'd say, kissing my forehead like I was a child who'd just learned to tie his shoes. I started calling her my personal project manager as a joke. She called me sweetly incompetent back, smiling like it was an endearment. Then came that Tuesday in March. Rain hammering the windows, typical Seattle gloom. I was updating security software on my laptop when I saw it. A background process I didn't recognize. Etherview remote admin tool. My cursor hovered over it. I ran a trace. Installation date, 8 months ago. The week Marla moved in. My hands went cold. Etherview wasn't something you accidentally installed. It was monitoring software. The kind helicopter parents put on their kids' computers, or the kind suspicious spouses used to track cheating partners. I opened the program logs. My stomach dropped through the floor, every keystroke recorded, every website visited, every email sent and received, screenshots captured every 30 seconds. GPS location data from my phone, even access to my webcam. 8 months of total surveillance. I sat frozen, staring at the screen, my half-eaten Thai food congealing in its little labeled container. My brain tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was malware. Maybe I'd been hacked. Maybe. "Hey babe, how's your day going?" Marla's text message popped up on my screen. The timestamp showed she'd sent it exactly 30 seconds after I'd opened the Etherview logs. She was watching, right now. I closed the laptop carefully, my heart slamming against my ribs. I picked up my phone with shaking hands and typed back, "Good, just working. You?" Her reply came instantly. "Busy day. What are you having for lunch?" I looked down at the container. The Thai food you made, thanks. You're welcome. Don't forget to eat the vegetables. I wanted to throw up. That night I lay in bed next to her, listening to her breathe, feeling like a stranger in my own skin. She was curled against me, her hand on my chest, her vanilla-scented shampoo filling my nose. The same woman who remembered my mother's birthday and left encouraging notes in my work bag. The same woman who had apparently been surveilling me like I was a criminal. I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling and calculated. If I confronted her directly, what would happen? She'd deny it, probably. Or worse, she'd justify it. I was worried about you. I just wanted to make sure you were safe. Why are you mad if you have nothing to hide? I needed advice. I needed perspective. I needed to know if I was overreacting or if this was as insane as it felt. The next morning, after Marla left for her job at the marketing firm downtown, I created a throwaway Reddit account. I found a relationship advice forum and started typing. I think my girlfriend is spying on me, I wrote. I found monitoring software on my computer. She has access to everything, my emails, my messages, my location. She didn't ask permission. She didn't tell me. I feel violated but also crazy for caring. Is this normal? Am I paranoid? I hit post and went to work. By lunch, I had 63 comments. Most people were horrified. That's abusive. Get out now. Document everything and call a lawyer. A few suggested I was jumping to conclusions. One person asked if I'd been cheating, implying I deserved surveillance. I felt validated and terrified in equal measure. That evening, Marla was different. Not obviously, not dramatically, just off. She smiled too much. Her movements were too careful. She asked if I wanted wine with dinner in a voice that sounded rehearsed. Sure, I said, watching her pour 2 glasses of red with steady hands. We ate pasta. We talked about her co-worker's drama. We watched an episode of a sitcom she liked. Everything normal. Everything scripted. Then, as I was brushing my teeth before bed, she appeared in the bathroom doorway, her phone in her hand. Eliot, she said quietly, we need to talk. I met her eyes in the mirror. About what? She turned her phone toward me. On the screen was my Reddit post, my anonymous throwaway account Reddit post. About this, she said. My toothbrush clattered into the sink. How did you really think I wouldn't notice? Her voice was calm, too calm. You used the laptop, Eliot, the one I have access to. You signed into Reddit while I was monitoring your session. Did you forget? I hadn't forgotten. I hadn't known. My hands gripped the edge of the sink. 8 months, I said. You've been spying on me for 8 months. I've been taking care of you for 8 months, she corrected. Making sure you're okay. Making sure you're safe. That's insane, Marla. That's illegal. She laughed. Actually laughed. Illegal? Honey, we live together. Shared devices, shared networks. I haven't done anything wrong. You gave me your passwords, remember? You trusted me. I trusted you not to abuse that trust. And I trusted you not to trash talk me to strangers on the internet. She stepped closer, her expression shifting from calm to something harder. You needed permission to be miserable, apparently. You needed validation from people who don't even know you. Because I can't talk to you. Everything I say, everything I do, you're watching, you're judging. I'm helping. Her voice rose, sharp. I'm making you better. You were a mess when we met, Eliot. You ate garbage. You dressed like a teenager. You had no direction. I gave you structure. I gave you purpose. And this is how you repay me? By calling me abusive on Reddit? I stared at her, really looked at her, the woman I'd thought I loved, the woman who'd somehow convinced me that surrendering my autonomy was an act of partnership. I want you to remove the spyware, I said quietly. No. Marla. No. If you have nothing to hide, it shouldn't matter. She crossed her arms. Unless you're planning something. Are you planning something, Eliot? The way she asked made my blood run cold. Like she already knew the answer. Like she'd already read it in my search history or my text messages or my goddamn thoughts if she could figure out how to install brain monitoring software. "I'm going to bed," I said. "Good idea. Big day tomorrow." She smiled. "Don't forget you have that meeting with the Greenfield account at 10. I hadn't told her about that meeting. She walked away, leaving me gripping the sink, my reflection staring back at me with hollow eyes. That night, I made a decision. I couldn't stay. Not like this, but I couldn't just leave either. She had too much control. My bank accounts, joint, my phone plan, under her name. My laptop, my tablet, even my car's GPS, all monitored, all tracked. I was digitally imprisoned. I had to be smart, methodical. I had to use the skills I'd spent years developing in IT security and apply them to my own escape. I started small. Over the next week, I transferred money from our joint account to an old savings account Marla didn't know about. $50 at a time, disguised as coffee shop purchases and gas station stops. I bought a burner phone with cash and kept it hidden in my gym bag. I backed up personal files to an encrypted flash drive and deleted the originals. Every night, I lay next to her, pretending to sleep, my mind racing through logistics, lease agreements, forwarding addresses, which belongings I could take without her noticing. The Saturday before I planned to leave, I was packing a box of clothes in the closet while Marla watched TV in the living room. I could hear her laughing at some sitcom, the sound bright and oblivious. My hands shook as I folded shirts. I felt like a thief in my own home. But I felt something else, too. Something that had been crushed under 8 months of surveillance and control. I felt angry. I sealed the box with packing tape. I labeled it winter clothes and set it by the door with 3 others I'd already packed, claiming I was donating them to Goodwill. "Need help loading those?" Marla called from the couch. "I've got it," I said. I carried the boxes to my car. I drove to a storage unit I'd rented under my old savings account. I unloaded them, my heart pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. When I came back, Marla was standing in the doorway, her arms crossed, her expression unreadable. "That was fast," she said. "Goodwill is close." She studied me for a long moment. Then she smiled. "You're such a good person, Eliot. Always helping others." I walked past her into the apartment, my prison, my soon-to-be past. 2 days later, on a Monday morning while Marla was at work, I took the rest of my essential belongings and left. I didn't leave a note. I didn't say goodbye. I just locked the door behind me and walked away, my digital shadow still flickering on her screens like a ghost. The apartment I rented was a studio in downtown Seattle, 3rd floor of a building that smelled like old carpet and someone's perpetual bacon breakfast. The landlord was a guy named Don who accepted cash for the deposit and didn't ask many questions. The place was 600 square feet of scuffed hardwood and a window that overlooked a parking lot, but it was mine. Completely, entirely mine. The first night I sat on the floor, I didn't have furniture yet, and ate pizza straight from the box. No label, no portion control, no Marla. I felt like I'd deleted a virus manually. That euphoric moment when the scan comes back clean and you can finally breathe. It lasted 48 hours. On Wednesday, my credit card declined at a gas station. I tried another. Declined. I checked my banking app and felt my stomach drop. My accounts were frozen. All of them. Even the secret savings account I thought Marla didn't know about. I called the bank. The representative spoke in that careful, scripted tone people use when delivering bad news. "It appears there's been a fraud alert filed on your accounts, Mr. Brant. Until the investigation is complete." "What fraud alert? I didn't file anything." The report came from a joint account holder, a Ms. Danes. Of course it did. I drove to the bank, demanded to speak with a manager, got nowhere. Marla had claimed I was making unauthorized withdrawals. She'd frozen everything pending review. The manager was sympathetic but firm. Until this was resolved, I had no access to my own money. I sat in my car afterward, my hands white-knuckled on the steering wheel, trying not to scream. That night, my laptop pinged, a notification from the cloud backup system. Someone was accessing my files remotely. I checked the IP address, and my blood went cold. It was coming from my old apartment, from Marla's network. She was still tracking me. I grabbed the laptop, carried it to the parking lot, and smashed it against the concrete. Once, twice, 3 times until the screen splintered and the hardware cracked open. Plastic shards skittered across the asphalt. Feel better? I spun around. An older guy stood near the building entrance, smoking a cigarette, watching me with a mixture of amusement and concern. He was maybe 50, graying hair, the kind of weathered face that suggested a past involving either military service or a really committed smoking habit. Not really, I said. Woman trouble? I laughed bitterly. Something like that. He took a drag, exhaled slowly. I'm Jared, 3rd floor, Unit 12, ex-cop. Retired, not fired, in case you're wondering. Eliot, same floor, Unit 9, ex-boyfriend. Currently being destroyed by my ex-girlfriend. She tracking you? I stared at him. How did you... 23 years in law enforcement. I know that look. You've got the paranoia of someone who's being surveilled. He ground out his cigarette. You want help? Or you want to keep smashing electronics and hoping for the best? I should have been more cautious. I should have asked more questions, but I was desperate and angry and tired of fighting alone. I want help, I said. Jared nodded. Come on, let me show you some things. His apartment was sparse but organized. Military discipline, probably. He made coffee, black, no sugar, and we sat at his small kitchen table while he explained the basics of counter-surveillance. First rule, he said, you can't win by running. She'll always find you digitally if you're using any of your old accounts, devices, or habits. You need to cut everything. I don't have any money. She froze my accounts. Get a lawyer. File a report. You live together, so you've got rights to your own assets. It'll take time, but it's doable. She has evidence that I took money from our joint account. That's not theft if your name is on the account. Any lawyer worth their retainer fee will tell you that. He sipped his coffee. What you need to focus on now is documentation. Record everything. Every interaction, every threat, every illegal thing she does. Build your case. She's been monitoring me for 8 months. How is that not illegal? It's complicated. If you gave her your passwords, if she claims she was using shared devices in a shared home, it gets murky. But the moment you establish separate residence and she continues surveillance, that's different. That's harassment, potentially stalking. He taught me how to check for tracking devices, how to spot hidden cameras, how to use a VPN and encrypted messaging, how to create new accounts that couldn't be traced back to me. By the time I left his apartment, I had a plan. More importantly, I had anger that was solidifying into purpose. Thursday morning, I filed a police report documenting Marla's surveillance. The officer who took my statement was skeptical, but professional. Do you have proof? She asked. I showed her screenshots of the Etherview software. I explained the frozen accounts. I detailed the pattern of control. We'll investigate, she said, which I knew meant nothing would happen. Domestic surveillance cases were murky, low priority, hard to prosecute. But I had it on record. That was something. Friday, 2 police officers knocked on my apartment door. They were polite but firm. They had a report of stolen property. Marla Danes filed a complaint, one of them explained. Claims you took electronics and personal documents that belonged to her. That's a lie. Everything I took, I bought. Do you have receipts? Of course I didn't. Who keeps receipts for a laptop bought 3 years ago, for clothes and books and kitchen supplies accumulated over months? They gave me options: return the items voluntarily or face potential charges. I could fight it in court, they said, but did I really want to go through that? I returned the laptop, the one I'd smashed, now in pieces. I returned a tablet I'd bought with my own money. I returned books, clothes, even a coffee maker I'd owned since college. Marla stood in the doorway of our old apartment, watching with a small smile as the officers supervised the exchange. "Thank you for being reasonable, Eliot," she said sweetly. "I know this is hard for you." I wanted to spit on her. Instead, I said nothing. I walked away, burning with humiliation, my hands empty. That night, I sat in Jared's apartment and told him everything. He listened, nodded, and finally said, "You ready to stop playing defense?" "What do you mean?" "She's been on offense this whole time. Controlling you, tracking you, using the system against you. You've been reacting. It's time to act." "I'm not going to hurt her." "I didn't say hurt her. I said beat her at her own game." He leaned forward. "She thinks she's smarter than you. Prove her wrong." I thought about it. About 8 months of suffocation. About frozen accounts and stolen belongings and that smug smile on her face. About the way she'd made me feel small, incompetent, controlled. "What do you suggest?" I asked. Jared smiled. "Surveillance works both ways." Over the next week, I rebuilt. I got a lawyer, cheap but competent, who started the process of unfreezing my accounts and establishing my financial independence. I documented everything Marla did, the continued attempts to access my new email, the mysterious charges appearing on my old credit cards, the threatening messages she sent from fake numbers, and I started watching her. I bought a used camera with cash. I learned her schedule. I followed her to work, to the gym, to the grocery store. I wasn't stalking, I was gathering intelligence, understanding her patterns, finding her weaknesses. 2 weeks after I'd left, I followed her car to an office park in Bellevue. She parked and walked into a building. 10 minutes later, a man joined her. Tall, expensive suit, cocky posture. They stood close, too close, his hand on the small of her back. Her laughing at something he said, tilting her head in that way she used to do with me. I raised my camera and started shooting. His name was Cal Norwood. I found him on LinkedIn, senior account executive at the same marketing firm where Marla worked. Married. 2 kids. A fiancé who posted lots of inspirational quotes and family photos on Facebook. Marla had been cheating, probably for months. While she was tracking my every move, monitoring my every keystroke, she'd been betraying me with this corporate sleazeball. I sat in my car, looking at the photos, and felt something click into place. She wanted control? I'd show her what losing control felt like. I drove home, uploaded the photos to an encrypted drive, and started planning. The gloves were off. The game had changed. And I was done being the victim. The first thing I did was reclaim my money. My lawyer was a woman named Patricia Sims, late 40s, sharp-eyed and unsympathetic to manipulation tactics. She'd seen cases like mine before, financial abuse disguised as helping. She filed motions, presented evidence of my employment history and account ownership, and within 10 days, the bank unfroze my assets. Marla had no legal standing to lock me out. She'd just been fast and convincing, but now I was faster. I transferred every dollar from our joint account into a new personal account she couldn't access. Legally, I had every right. My name was on that account. I paid off the credit cards she'd been using under my name. I canceled subscriptions she'd set up. I built paper trails documenting her controlling behavior, the spyware installation, the surveillance, the false police reports. When her next attempt to withdraw money bounced, I imagine her face went pale. I hoped it did. That night, my burner phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "What did you do?" I didn't respond. Another message. "Eliot, we need to talk. You're making a mistake." I blocked the number. 2 hours later, a different number. "I know where you live. We're going to talk whether you like it or not." I forwarded the screenshot to Patricia and Jared. Evidence. Always evidence. The second part of my plan was psychological. Jared had taught me the basics of digital harassment, not the illegal kind, but the kind that makes someone paranoid, makes them question their own stability. I created anonymous email accounts and sent Marla messages that mirrored the ones her spyware used to send me. Still watching? Did you forget I'm always here? Who owns you now? Simple phrases. Nothing threatening enough to be actionable, just enough to make her skin crawl, to make her wonder if someone had hacked her systems the way she'd hacked mine. I watched her social media activity change. She posted less. Her photos looked strained. In one Instagram story, her hand shook slightly while holding a coffee cup. Good. Within days, the paranoia spread to Cal. I'd set up a fake email account posing as a concerned colleague and sent him vague warnings about inappropriate workplace relationships and HR investigations. He started acting jumpy around Marla. I watched them argue in the parking lot one evening, their body language tense and accusatory. The third part was where I let my anger take over. Maybe it was petty, maybe it was wrong. But I was beyond caring about taking the high road. The high road had gotten me 8 months of digital imprisonment and a girlfriend who'd treated me like a puppet. Cal drove a Tesla. Expensive, obnoxious, detailed weekly based on his social media posts. He was proud of that car. I'd watched him pose next to it for selfies, watched him park it in the same spot at the office complex every day. On a Tuesday night, I drove to the office park after midnight. I wore gloves and a hoodie. I brought a canvas bag full of supplies. The parking lot was empty, the security cameras pointed at the building entrances, not the far end where Cal always parked. I worked fast. I keyed deep scratches along both sides of the Tesla, ugly gouges that would cost thousands to repair. I stuffed the exhaust pipe with expanding foam insulation. It wouldn't cause an explosion, but it would make the car undrivable and expensive to fix. I left a note under the windshield wiper, printed in generic font. Offline yet? Then I walked away, adrenaline singing in my veins. The next morning, Cal's enraged Facebook post appeared. Some psycho vandalized my car. If you have any information, please contact me. This is harassment. Marla commented, OMG, that's terrible. Who would do this? I smiled at my phone screen, but I wasn't done. The fourth part needed even more careful planning. I had photos of Marla and Cal together, nothing inappropriate, but close enough to spark suspicion. A hand on a lower back, a kiss on a cheek that lingered too long, body language that screamed affair. I created an anonymous email account using a VPN and a burner laptop I'd bought with cash. I sent the photos to 3 people, Cal's fiancée, whose email I'd found through some light social engineering, Marla's HR department, and the marketing firm's internal ethics hotline. The email was simple. Thought you should know about the inappropriate relationship between 2 of your colleagues. See attached photos. I didn't embellish. I didn't need to. The images spoke for themselves. Within 24 hours, the fallout began. Cal's fiancée, a woman named Jessica, posted a cryptic Instagram story. When people show you who they really are, believe them the first time. Marla called in sick to work 2 days in a row. The marketing firm launched an internal investigation. I knew because Cal posted a furious rant on his private Facebook, which I'd gained access to through a mutual acquaintance's account. This is bullshit. Someone is trying to destroy my career over nothing. Over nothing. Sure. The 5th part was where things got messy. Cal showed up at Marla's apartment, our old apartment, on a Friday night. I was parked across the street, camera ready, watching. He pounded on the door. She let him in. Through the thin walls and open window I could hear shouting, accusations, her voice rising in defense, his voice sharp with rage. Then I heard something break. A crash, more shouting. I should have called the police. Instead, I kept filming. If he hurt her, if he crossed that line, I'd have evidence. And evidence was power. But he didn't. After 20 minutes, he stormed out, slamming the door so hard the frame shook. He sat in his vandalized Tesla for 10 minutes, head in his hands, before driving away. Marla appeared at the window, her face blotchy with tears. She stared out at the street, at nothing, at the ruins of the control she'd built around herself. I lowered my camera, For the first time, I felt something other than anger. I felt satisfaction. The final piece of Act 3 happened spontaneously. I was grocery shopping at a mall across town, trying to live my life normally, when I saw her. Marla, walking fast, phone pressed to her ear. She looked frazzled. Her hair was messy. Her clothes were wrinkled. She saw me at the same moment. Her eyes widened. She ended her call and walked straight toward me. Eliot, Marla, we need to talk. No, we don't. You ruined my life. You leaked those photos. You vandalized Cal's car. You froze me out of the accounts. I reclaimed my life, I interrupted. There's a difference. You're obsessed with revenge. You're acting crazy. I laughed. Actually laughed. I'm acting crazy. You spent 8 months spying on me, controlling every aspect of my life, and you think I'm crazy? People were starting to stare, Marla noticed. She always noticed. Lower your voice, she hissed. Why? Afraid someone will find out who you really are? Her face twisted. She lunged forward, grabbing my arm. You destroyed everything. My job, my relationship, my reputation. I yanked my arm free. You destroyed yourself. I just held up a mirror. She came at me again, her face flushed with rage. I stepped back. She followed, shouting now, drawing a crowd. Someone pulled out a phone to record. You're pathetic, she screamed. You were nothing before me. Nothing. I made you. I kept walking. She kept following. We ended up near the mall fountain, a ridiculous decorative thing surrounded by benches. She was still yelling, still advancing, and I was done engaging. I turned to walk away. She grabbed my shoulder, trying to spin me around. I sidestepped. She stumbled, her heel catching on the fountain's edge, and she fell, straight into the water. The splash was enormous. People gasped. Someone laughed. Marla surfaced, sputtering, soaked, her makeup running down her face. She screamed my name, incoherent with rage. I stood on the fountain's edge, looking down at her. You're making a scene, I said calmly. Then I walked away. Behind me, I could hear people filming, murmuring. Someone said, Did you see that? She attacked him and fell in. The video went viral within hours. Crazy Woman Fountain Meltdown got 80,000 views on TikTok. The top comment, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I watched it once, sitting in my apartment, and felt nothing. No guilt, no satisfaction, just emptiness. The war wasn't over, but the battle was mine. Marla hit rock bottom fast. Her job suspended her pending the HR investigation. Cal wanted nothing to do with her. His fiancée had left him. His reputation was trashed, and he blamed Marla for everything. The apartment we'd shared was in her name, but she couldn't make rent without my income. I heard through Jared, who had a friend in property management, that she'd received an eviction notice. Everything she'd built on the foundation of control was crumbling. Part of me wanted to feel vindicated. Part of me did feel vindicated. But another part, the part that remembered why I'd loved her once, felt hollow. Then, 3 weeks after the fountain incident, my burner phone buzzed with a message from a number I didn't recognize. Please, I need to talk to you. Just once. In public if you want. I'll buy coffee. Please, Eliot. I stared at the message for 10 minutes. Jared's advice echoed in my head. Never engage unless you're in control of the situation. I was in control now. Completely. She had nothing left to leverage against me. I typed back, Lakeside Cafe, tomorrow noon, public place, come alone. Her response was immediate. Thank you. I didn't sleep that night. I prepared instead. I told Jared where I'd be and when. I wore a shirt with a button camera disguised as a logo. I arrived early and chose a table near the window, visible to the street, surrounded by people. No isolated corners, no privacy. Marla arrived 5 minutes late. She looked terrible. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. Her face was bare of makeup. She wore sweatpants and an old jacket I remembered from years ago. She looked smaller somehow, diminished. She sat down across from me without ordering anything. "Thank you for coming," she said quietly. "I'm here. Talk." She took a breath. "I know what I did was wrong. The spyware, the control, the everything. I know that now." "Do you?" "I'm seeing a therapist. She says I have control issues stemming from childhood trauma, my parents' divorce, my mom's paranoia. I projected all of that onto you and I didn't even realize—" "Stop." She blinked. "What?" "Stop with the therapy language. Stop trying to explain it away. You knew what you were doing. Every time you checked my phone, every time you logged into my accounts, every time you installed software to track my every move, you knew. You chose it." Her eyes filled with tears. "I thought I was helping you. I thought—" "You thought you owned me." The tears spilled over. "I loved you." "No. You didn't. Love doesn't surveil. Love doesn't manipulate. Love doesn't try to reprogram someone into your ideal version of them." I leaned forward. "You wanted a puppet, and when I started pulling my own strings, you tried to destroy me. I didn't mean for things to get this bad. The accounts, the police, Cal, it all spiraled. I was hurt and angry, and I reacted. You filed false police reports. You froze my access to my own money. You weaponized every system you could against me. Because you left." Her voice rose. People glanced over. She lowered it again. "You left without a word. You made me feel crazy, like I'd imagined our entire relationship. You were crazy. You are crazy. You tracked me for 8 months, Marla. You knew where I was every second of every day. You read my emails. You watched me through my webcam. And you still think I'm the problem?" She wiped her eyes. "I just want to fix this. Tell me how to fix this." "You can't. Please, I'll do anything. Therapy, couples counseling, whatever you need." "I don't need you." The words came out flat. Final. "I don't want you. I don't forgive you. I don't even think about you except as a cautionary tale about what happens when you let someone consume your entire life." She flinched like I'd slapped her. "That's cruel. It's honest. You wanted me to be honest? There it is. You violated me. You controlled me. You made me feel worthless and dependent and trapped. And now you're paying for it. Not because I'm cruel, because actions have consequences." "I'm losing everything," she whispered. "Good. Maybe you'll learn something." She stared at me, her face crumbling. "What happened to you? You used to be kind." "I used to be a doormat. There's a difference." I stood up. "Don't contact me again. If you do, I'll file a restraining order. I have enough documentation to bury you in court." "Eliot, we're done." I walked toward the door. Behind me, I heard her sob. I didn't turn around. Outside, rain had started falling, typical Seattle drizzle. I pulled up my hood and started walking toward my car. I'd made it halfway across the parking lot when I heard the screech of tires. A black Tesla, damaged and scraped, pulled up beside me. The window rolled down. Cal Norwood's face was red with rage. "You," he snarled. "You ruined my life." I kept walking. He drove alongside me, shouting through the open window. "My fiancé left me. I'm under investigation at work. My car is destroyed. All because of you." "All because you were sleeping with someone else's girlfriend," I said without looking at him. "She told me you guys were over. She said—" "She lied. She's good at that." I reached my car and opened the door. Cal jumped out of his Tesla and stormed toward me. "You think you're so smart? You think you've won?" I turned to face him. He was bigger than me, angrier, used to getting his way through money and intimidation. But I'd spent weeks being afraid. I was done with that too. "I think you should get back in your car," I said calmly. "Or what? You'll key it again?" "You already did that, you psycho." "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Bullshit. The note said, offline yet. That's your thing, isn't it? Your whole revenge against Marla." "My revenge against Marla is living well without her. If someone vandalized your car, maybe you should examine why you have enemies." His fist clenched. For a moment, I thought he'd actually hit me. I almost wanted him to. I had the button camera running. Assault on video would be the perfect end to this conversation. But he didn't swing. He just stood there breathing hard, his privilege and ego warring with the reality that he had nothing to threaten me with. "Stay away from Marla," he finally said. "Gladly. You can have her." "I don't want her. She's toxic. She's manipulative. He stopped, realizing how he sounded. "Just stay away from both of us." "Already planning on it." I got in my car and drove away. In the rearview mirror, I saw Cal standing in the rain, looking lost and furious. Two broken people who'd enabled each other's worst impulses. They deserved each other, but I wasn't satisfied yet. The confrontation at the cafe had been necessary, but incomplete. Marla still didn't understand. Not really. She thought this was about heartbreak, about revenge for cheating or controlling behavior. She didn't understand the fundamental violation of surveillance, the erasure of autonomy, the systematic dismantling of trust. I needed her to understand. Completely. That evening, I met Jared at his apartment. I told him about the cafe, about Cal, about the hollow feeling that came with winning a war that shouldn't have needed to be fought. "You did what you had to do," Jared said. "She's out of your life. That's the goal, right?" "Almost." "Almost?" I pulled out my laptop, a new one, clean and unmonitored. I showed him the files I'd compiled over the past month, screenshots of Marla's spyware installation, logs of her continued attempts to access my accounts, text messages proving her harassment, the false police report she'd filed, evidence of financial manipulation. "What are you going to do with all this?" Jared asked. "I'm going to make sure she can't do this to anyone else." I'd scheduled a meeting with a detective at the Seattle Police Department. Not the patrol officers who'd responded to Marla's false theft claim, but someone in the cybercrime division who actually understood digital harassment. Patricia, my lawyer, had helped me set it up. The meeting was scheduled for Monday morning. But Sunday night, everything accelerated. I was in my apartment eating dinner and watching TV when I heard shouting outside. I looked out the window and saw Cal's Tesla in the parking lot, smoke billowing from under the hood. Cal was standing next to it, phone pressed to his ear, looking panicked. The expanding foam I'd stuffed in the exhaust weeks ago must have finally caused enough back pressure to damage the engine. Or maybe Cal had tried to fix it himself and made it worse. Either way, the car was failing in spectacular fashion. I watched from my window as a small crowd gathered. Someone called the fire department. Cal was yelling at anyone who'd listen about sabotage and revenge and lawsuits. Then I saw her. Marla, walking across the parking lot toward Cal. She must have followed him here. She must have known he'd confront me. They started arguing. Loud, public, vicious. Accusations flying. Cal blamed her for everything. She blamed him. They blamed me. The crowd watched like it was street theater. And then Cal's car ignited. Not a huge explosion, it wasn't a movie. Just a sudden whoosh of flame from the engine compartment, probably from leaking fluids hitting hot metal. People screamed. Someone ran for a fire extinguisher. Cal jumped back, staring at his burning Tesla with wide eyes. I grabbed my phone and called 911. "There's a car fire in the parking lot," I said, giving the address. Then I grabbed my keys and went downstairs. By the time I reached the parking lot, the fire department had arrived. They extinguished the flames quickly, professionally. The Tesla was a smoking wreck. Cal looked like he might cry. Marla saw me, and her expression changed, from shock to fury in an instant. "You," she hissed, pushing through the crowd toward me. "You did this. You sabotaged his car and now—" "I did nothing," I said clearly, aware of the crowd, the phones recording. "I was in my apartment. I called 911. I'm a witness, same as everyone else." "Liar! You've been harassing us for weeks. The emails, the photos, the—" "Marla," I said calmly, "I think you should stop talking." A police officer approached us. Young, tired-looking, clearly not interested in domestic drama. Is there a problem here? This man has been stalking and harassing us, Marla said, pointing at me. He vandalized my boyfriend's car and— Ex-boyfriend, Cal interjected. We're not together. She's insane, Marla whirled on him. Don't you dare! Ma'am, the officer said firmly. I need you to calm down. I am calm. He's the one— She gestured at me again, her voice rising. He's been ruining our lives. Do you have proof? The officer asked. Marla opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. He admitted it. He threatened me. When? Earlier today, at the cafe, he said— What exactly did he say? She faltered. Because I hadn't threatened her. I'd told her to leave me alone. I'd told her I'd file a restraining order if she contacted me again. All perfectly legal. He said he'd bury me in court, she finally managed. That's not a threat, the officer said. That's a statement about legal proceedings. I pulled out my phone. Officer, I actually have documentation of Ms. Danes harassing me over the past several weeks. Text messages, attempted account access, a false police report she filed against me. I was planning to present it to the cybercrime division tomorrow morning. The officer's expression shifted. Is that right? It's lies, Marla shouted. He's manipulating you like he manipulated me. Ma'am, you need to lower your voice. I won't lower my voice. He destroyed my life. She lunged toward me. Actually lunged, arms outstretched like she was going to hit me or grab me or something. The officer stepped between us, holding up a hand. That's enough. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step back. No, you don't understand. Step back now, or I'll arrest you for assault. Marla froze. The crowd was silent, watching. Cal had backed away from both of us, clearly wanting no part of this anymore. Marla's face crumpled. She started crying, huge, gasping sobs. He was supposed to love me, she said to no one, to everyone. I just wanted him to be better. I just wanted to help. I felt nothing. Just tired. Just done. The officer took statements from everyone. He examined the burned Tesla and determined it was likely a mechanical failure, not arson. He took my information and Marla's information and told us both to stay away from each other. If either of you contacts the other, there will be consequences, he said firmly. Marla nodded, still crying. I nodded too. As the crowd dispersed and the fire trucks left, I walked back to my apartment. Jared met me in the hallway. Hell of a show, he said. Yeah. You okay? I'm fine. I wasn't fine. I was hollow. Victory felt like ashes. But the next morning, I went to my meeting with the cybercrime detective. I presented every piece of evidence I'd compiled. The spyware, the harassment, the surveillance, the financial manipulation, everything. The detective listened, took notes, and finally said, "This is solid. We can pursue charges for computer trespassing and harassment. It'll take time, but you have a case." I don't want her in jail, I said. I just want it on record. I want anyone who Googles her name to see what she did. I want her to understand that actions have consequences. The detective nodded. We'll file the report. It'll be public record. I walked out of the police station feeling lighter than I had in months. 3 days later, the marketing firm fired Marla. The HR investigation had concluded. Inappropriate workplace relationships, misuse of company resources to stalk an ex-partner. She was done. Cal was fired too, for his part in the affair and for bringing personal drama into the workplace. His fiancée filed for divorce. His LinkedIn profile went silent. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt relieved. Like I'd finally deleted malware that had been running in the background of my life for too long. 2 weeks after that, I got a final message from Marla's number. Just 3 words. I'm sorry, goodbye. I deleted it without responding. I changed my phone number. I deleted my old social media accounts. I started fresh, clean, unmonitored. I kept the apartment in Seattle. I got promoted at work. I dated casually, honestly, without the weight of surveillance and control. And sometimes, late at night, I'd think about Marla, about what she'd become, about what I'd become in fighting her, about whether there was another way this could have ended. But mostly, I didn't think about her at all. I was free. Finally, completely free. And that was enough.